Give love, we all need it. Give love, MC it.
So hello friends, good day, good morning or afternoon, depending on where you are, or maybe even night. Welcome to the Art of Love Radio. I am your host, Ashley Davine, and we have a great show planned for you today. It's a really important topic. Self-love is the topic. It all starts and ends with the self. So we've got a special guest co-host in the house today with us, whose vibe is all about empowerment, inspiration, and self-love. This is a woman that I personally have had the opportunity to expand with and connect with, dance with, cry with, laugh with. She's a certified yoga teacher and self-expression facilitator. She uses yoga and drama and dance to help others live happy, healthy lives. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the lovely Miss Gigi Yogini, also known as Brigitte Kuba.
Hi, Ashley. Good morning. I am.
Hi. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful day in Southwest Florida. How about you? How are you doing?
I'm phenomenal. Thank you. Here in Santa Monica, it's gorgeous as well.
Love it. Okay, so on the Art of Love Radio, the idea is that we're having a conversation of our hearts. So we want to always take a second in the beginning and kind of breathe together and tap into our hearts. We'll keep with us what fits and talk about the rest. Knowing there's no right or wrong answer, it's just whatever shows up in these, conversations of love. So if everybody can, if you have the opportunity to close your eyes. Take a deep breath into the nose, inhaling and holding, and visualize anything that's heavy or stagnant or holding you back, just releasing with this breath. And then exhaling through the mouth, pushing out all that's no longer serving you, feeling this warm golden light just streaming around us and just filling our hearts right now as we take one more breath together in through the nose, holding and releasing anything not serving you, and then just releasing through the mouth, feeling this warm golden light and knowing that we're going to have a wonderful conversation today. I'm really excited about it. I want to start, and then I'm going to let Gigi really kind of take the floor. She's so inspiring, she's so wise. But I want to start it off with a quote that will lead us in our direction. And it says, "I am my own biggest critic. Before anyone else has criticized me, I have already criticized myself. But for the rest of my life, I'm going to be with me. And I don't want to spend my life with someone who is always critical. So I'm going to stop being my own critic. It's high time that I accept all of the great things about me." And that's by author C. Joy Bell C., who's just a fabulous soul in general and quoted very often and known for her love cake. But anyways, one of the first key points that Gigi brought up was that self-love is confidence and respect for yourself, and that it's crucial in having that for yourself to receive it from another. So I love that quote and how it ties into I have to stop being my own worst critic and bless myself in order to experience that in my world. What are your thoughts about that, Brigitte?
Well, I think it's pretty poignant considering we're in February and approaching Valentine's Day, which has been a completely commercialized holiday about romantic love and, relationships with people in a not so loving way. And it's always interesting how people sometimes feel really lonely or disappointed or unworthy if they don't have that romantic love of another that they get to celebrate at this time of the year. So it's a really funny holiday for me. And what I've realized over the years that you can't expect anyone to love you if you don't love yourself. And that's really getting, down to what it is about you, not only that's amazing, because we know when we put out an ad, people do online dating or classifieds, we generally put out all the things that are great about us. And then we fail to mention our human sides. And what if you put out a classified ad highlighting all the things that you might not love about yourself, but recognizing that there's someone out there, perhaps, who can love all the good and the bad. And being able to love that about yourself first in order to really acknowledge that you might be able to find that in another. So it's that idea that, you know, as we approach Valentine's Day, really thinking about courting yourself, romanticizing yourself, allowing yourself to feel amazing before you beat yourself up or redirect all that attention to your significant other if you have one.
Yeah, wow. That's incredibly said. I love that. You know, this is the month of love, and that's why I'm so excited to start off this month. Our topic all month on the Art of Radio is going to love. But self-love is first, and I'm glad that brought that up and what you said. Because, you know, here's the thing. Like, to me, my vibration is that your soul is where your light really is and your truth really is. So when people are in your life and they see your soul so fully, they see your heart so clearly, your moments of darkness or your moments of, you know, challenge, etc., those are not what those are not what creates their perception of you. It's your heart,
right?
And they let those things go. And the key is, like you just said, to worship ourselves in that way first. And that, you know, brings me to another really big key point, is that anything that's lacking outside of ourselves, the only way to do that, to fill it in our life, is to fill ourselves with it. So it's like, okay, if I feel, you know, sleep deprived, or if I feel love deprived, but how can I give myself more love? What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, no, I definitely feel that you're on a good point about being the source and really not having any separation between you and the outside world, acknowledging that, you know, that you tapping inward is the first thing you can do before expecting anything from the outside world.
I love that. And, you know, I wrote down something that kind of came to me a little bit earlier today, and it said, you know, self-love is about being an observer. Because one of the things that I really realized about self-love is the lines tend to blur sometimes, okay? So it's like, all right, now what's happening in the world that is an external circumstance that everybody's in their own story, yet we're all of the same thread, you know, we're all riding kind of the same wave in different time spaces, etc. of that, and points on the vortex. But it's like, where does the separation come between you acknowledging what yourself is creating and how you're showing up, between that and what is happening with the dynamic people in your life? So I wrote, you know, self-love. That makes sense. Self-love is about being an observer, because for my opinion, to be really true to your heart, true to your mindset. And this is a deep lesson for me that I'm learning and going through and moving through and becoming more and more of the observer in my life, where I can step away, move outside of the emotional boundaries. After I spoke with myself and said, okay, emotions, because emotions get bad rap, but, you know, emotions are amazing because they are actually really our beacon points. So in my opinion, emotions are, like, you know, points on the map. This is X marks the spot. So what's the emotion telling you, but then release it. And when you can do that, it's like, okay, by honoring my heart, I step away. And I'm able to then, from a really mindful space, approach whatever situation it is and recreate it in my life from a space of empowerment. Does that make sense? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. Emotions are a guide. And I think if we deny what we feel, we don't get to learn about ourselves. So if you feel lonely, rather than, you know, I mean, perhaps using substance to avoid that feeling, or going out and having superficial experiences in places that really aren't like high vibration, or just, you know, getting away from that feeling of loneliness, then you can't really, like you said, observe and tap into like what you need to feel whole. Or if you're feeling angry, what is that anger, you know, derived from? And how can you use it, you know, not attached to it, but use it as a guide to move in a place of healing or of expressing. We're so afraid of negative emotions. And, you know, we definitely fill ourselves with distractions all the time. And that could make it easy to not really get to the source of your beautiful light within, you know, the balance that you're constantly trying to establish within yourself, dealing with all the stimulus of the outside world, media, you know, people and the way that they try to portray their lives in public, you know, place points like Facebook, for instance, and you see how other people are living, and you might, you know, compare yourself to that, but really recognizing that everyone's human. You know, we all have crust in our eyes when we wake up in the morning, or, you know, like, we need to take care of ourselves. Like, we're human. There's all these things that we don't share. Most people don't share the negativity on a larger scale, and so when we have that ourselves, we're so afraid of it. But I think it can definitely be a guide to help you move to a next level of understanding and self-love.
Wow, it's really beautifully said, and so true. And so, you know, with all that being said, and with the shift into the new excuse me, time space, excuse me, one of the things that Marcus and I had spoke about was the fact that in this time you really can't, all the darkness and all that, etc., is coming to the light, you know? So it's starting to be more, it's starting to be sort of gauged, in my opinion, in a new way, where the darkness now isn't so like, oh my gosh, you know, wow, that's darkness. People are starting to go, oh hey, like, yeah, I had that same thought last week. All seems to be well in the land of Oz. Like, you know, we're going to make it through. It's cool. You know, you're starting to get sick. So it's coming to this really beautiful acknowledgement space where we're all like, oh hey, like, yeah, you're human. I have insecurities too from time to time. What are those telling us? And instead of judging each other for them, and instead of destroying, you know, things in our lives, again, if we can tap into our own hearts and truths and become the observer and not be so attached to that darkness, just know that it's perfect. Yeah, then we can pull ourselves away and go, how can I now work with this person in my life? And instead of writing them into this evil story of this evil character, this evil role, how can I acknowledge what their heart's saying and try to at least decipher the truth and present it? You know, and you can't control anything, again, but yourself, but at least if you can come real with it and know that how you're tapping into yourself, you know, then you're presenting at least your own personal truth. Do you have any thoughts that you want to share with us, Brigitte, about how, because, you know, one of my favorite things about you is how real you are. Like, you're just, if you guys have ever experienced Brigitte, first of all, if you haven't, get on it. She's everywhere. She's in Santa Monica. She's going to Bali. We're going to talk more about her Bali, which I'm super stoked about, and there's discount potential for all of you fabulous listeners. But, you know, the thing I love about Brigitte so much is how real she is. You know, she's like, what's up? She just comes with it. Just, it's so powerful, and it's like, whoa, because she invites you to step into your own truth. So what do you want to tell us about that, Brigitte, about just being really real and raw and authentic, you know?
Well, I think that it comes from being the observer and having a wide variety of experiences, and definitely having some really dark times in my life. Whether it was, you know, hitting a really severe depression following, you know, September 11th, 2001, and just feeling this incredible, like, hopelessness in the world. And I've written a little bit about it on some blogs, but there was a time, and right around that time, that this sense of darkness in the world had compounded and put me in such a tailspin of despair, and really brought up a lot of issues that I hadn't dealt with as a kid. And this idea that, you know, I was active, I was a happy kid, but when things went wrong, I didn't generally talk about them or seek them out with, like, healthy problem solving. I just kept on pushing through. And so when this massively sad and scary situation happened, I just fell apart. And I really had to start at square one, rebuilding my store or my warehouse of hope. And it took practice, you know, really acknowledging that there are things we can do in life that make us happier or healthier or to be more connected. And it's not always easy. You don't necessarily wake up in the morning and just feel like $1 million. Maybe you do, but generally, like, you might be a little vulnerable or a little groggy, or if you had a bad dream or whatever. And what can you do first thing in the morning to set yourself on the right track? or if you have relationships with people in your life who are toxic, recognizing that you have a choice for how much you want to be around toxic people or how you want to react to the way that people speak to you or treat you. And just showing up, you know, accepting what is. I mean, for me, my being raw and authentic also in the public sphere, you know, like I'm a large, physically large and, you know, symbolically personality-wise, but I'm a physically large, voluptuous woman in a yoga world, which is generally dominated by very small, skinny women. And years ago when I entered the scene, it was a point of incredible insecurity and almost kept me from doing it. But then I realized that, you know, if I'm shy and scared of what I'm working with and putting these limitations on myself to like lose 20 pounds before I start teaching public classes, then I might not ever be able to do what I'm here to do. And so if I can just love myself as I am and show up fully and be able to teach from this place now, I probably will get a lot more respect because at least I'm being myself. I'm not trying to be someone else. I'm not abusing myself for not being what I think I should be. So I work at it, you know, like I consciously practice, you know, healthy thinking, healthy living, and just showing up, being the type of person that I would, you know, I really want to be.
Yeah, I love it, Lucy. And, you know, that honestly was one of the major shifts in perspective that opened and expanded my heart along my journey, you know, in this lifetime. And it was when I shifted from, okay, how can I, you know, change to, you know, mold myself into all these different ways that then I would find, you know, suitable for myself. And then when my perspective changes, when I went, wait a minute. The moment's the only thing that exists. This moment's the only thing that's real. So how can I learn to love myself fully now? And then what I learned is that in doing these self-love mantras and, you know, doing the dance and just putting it all out there and letting it all go, really letting my heart, you know, lead and doing my arts and things like that, it's what I learned is that my body, even on a literal body-like level, you know, has shifted
right.
And the weight has dropped, and, you know, the image has turned into the picture that I was seeking to begin with, but it all started from me accepting my right now in this moment fully in my heart. And the one thing that I really want to come from this broadcast, and I'm going to let you also want to make sure we get talking about Bali too before our up. But, you know, the one thing that's really important to me is when I have readings with clients and just, you know, dinners with my friends, and I know, I'm sure Brigitte, same thing, it's like I get a lot of, you know, lack of self-worth and staying in relationships that they that are not fulfilling, or feeling like they're never going to find somebody again. And so the main thing I really want to come from this is the hope. So I don't know if there's any, like, tips to give them about how to really infuse themselves with self-love, which will probably bring us into that they can sign up for the Bali retreat. Roll with it, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for me, I've identified 5 steps to what I call practicing joy. And I think that it comes into self-worth and all of it, or even loving yourself. But the first one is really maximizing the breath, and really understanding that it's something that we take for granted all the time, and there are techniques that you can use with the breath to really get yourself present in the moment. You can calm yourself down. You can pick up your mood if you're feeling down and you want to turn it around in the other direction. The breath is such a powerful tool. The second thing is just using your body in ways, you know, moving it, walking, stretching, acknowledging it, like being able to find ways that that utilizes what you have. We are so sedentary these days that we don't even acknowledge. I mean, whether you're your ideal weight or not, exercise isn't just about trying to lose weight. I mean, it's really using what you have to be healthy and to feel good and to move energy through the body. And then the other thing is surrounding yourself with people who, you know, uplift you and who who are inspiring. My boyfriend is a career coach, and he always talks about your allies of glory and the people who really want you to be your best, as opposed to your thieves of ambition and the people who take, you know, the joy out of your life by pointing out all the negative things and all the problems, the limitations in life. And doing things you love, you know, the whole idea of YOLO, or you only live once. So really acknowledge like what your favorite hobbies are, your adventures, the things you like to do, or maybe remember your childhood and brought up feelings of joy, and really acknowledge like what brings you pleasure in life. And the last thing is just practicing gratitude, whether that be for your body or for your personality or for your community or, you know, the things in your life. And when you really like practice these 5 steps, it's so hard not to fall in love with yourself and fall in love with your life and really feel like you have some ownership over this, you know, this feeling of you and who you are and how you want to feel on a daily basis.
Wow, yeah, very well said. I love it. And just to read a little something that Brigitte had sent me, she said, this is the quote, she said, self-love requires patience, conscious actions, affirmative words, and rewiring your thinking patterns. And I just think that's so wise, and it's so, you know, it's so right on par with what she's saying with recreating the way you're thinking about your world and just stepping into that divine space. Brigitte has got a retreat happening in Bali, and the word Bali in general sends me into a dizzy of love, you know what I mean? It's like, really. Be Blissful in Bali, and actually she's offering a beautiful discount of $250 to listeners if you reserve a spot within the next 5 days, which is super exciting. And what's happening, Brigitte, is what, 8 days, is that right? 7 nights of yoga in the location where the love location from Eat, Love, Pray, which also blows my mind, so I'm a huge fan. I think I might be in that my own world. Tell us about this. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this had always, you know, been a dream of mine. I've been leading retreats in Costa Rica and Joshua Tree and, you know, around the States. And I really wanted to set the goal of going bigger, going somewhere that was on the map as one of the happiest places in the world. And like you said, it's the location of love from the book and the movie Eat, Pray, Love by Elizabeth Gilbert. And there's this festival that is one of the top 5 yoga festivals in the world called Bali Spirit Fest. And it's all about really finding a place of harmony with ourselves, with each other, with the environment, and teaching there. I'm going to be teaching 4 days of classes, yoga, dance, music, and really identifying this theme of joy and the art of practicing joy in your life and what it means to show up and love yourself and explore what we're capable of. And so in addition to that festival, I'm leading a retreat and bringing people with me from the States, and people are coming and meeting us from other countries to spend 7 nights at Soul Shine, which is a retreat center started by Michael Franti from Spearhead. And it's a location that is meant for creative thinkers, creative people. There's a beautiful outdoor yoga pavilion overlooking the rice paddies. There's 3 meals a day of amazing, healthy, delicious cooking. There's going to be morning practice every day of yoga and meditation, and then every afternoon there's different workshops or cultural adventures. We have some special guests leading different empowerment workshops, goal-setting workshops, and everyone who comes on the retreat gets to join me at the festival. So not only do you get to, you know, practice yoga with me, but you can choose from dozens of healers and speakers and dancers and musicians from around the world. It's a festival all about yoga, music, and dance. And the best thing is it's an all levels retreat. My approach to yoga is that it needs to be accessible to everyone. It's not a super advanced, crazy level 2, 3 practice, although there are opportunities for that. But there are all different levels, and I really specialize in offering modifications and variations for people of all different ages, all different shapes, sizes, and levels. So it really is an amazing opportunity to live the life you've always imagined. We always want to have these incredible experiences, and then we come up with so many reasons why we can't. And it's a lot like loving yourself, like we really want to be confident, but then we beat ourselves down with all these, insecurities and negative thoughts. But all it is just a shift of perspective. It's a little bit of extra effort to, love yourself, or a little bit extra effort to take a week to really nourish yourself. So we already have a great handful of people signed up. We have about 5 spaces left. We're 6 weeks away, and I am thrilled and so excited to offer this special friends and family deal to anyone who signs up this week.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for sharing all that, Brigitte, and for your energy. We're coming down to the end of the show, all about self-love. So I want to read another quote by C. Joy Bell C. that kind of ties into everything we've said today and beautiful Brigitte has shared. It says, the person in your life that you will always be with the most is yourself, because even when you are with others, you are still with yourself too. When you wake up in the morning, you are with yourself. Laying in bed at night, you are with yourself. Walking down the street in the sunlight, you are with yourself. What kind of person do you want to walk down the street with? What kind of person do you want to wake up with in the morning? What kind of person do you want to see at the end of the day before you fall asleep? Because that person is yourself, and it's your responsibility to be the person you want to be with. I know I want to spend my life with a person who knows how to let things go, who's not full of hate, who's able to smile and can be carefree. So that's what I have to be. And that, I feel, is such a beautiful way of saying what we just spoke about, and just remembering that you can give that to yourself. And, if you have the opportunity to join Brigitte in Bali and do those wonderful things, and don't consider it for yourself a, oh my gosh, I just gave to myself, so now what's lacking in my world? But look at it as, oh my gosh, I just gave to myself, so now I've continued this beautiful cycle of give, receive, birth, give, receive, creation, So there's never any lack. When you fill your heart first, that tank, it signals everything else into your world to really come into a space of divine and enchanted alignment with everything that you want. So you don't need anything from anybody outside of yourself, and that's so empowering. Be sure to connect in with Brigitte, and you can find her at www.ggiyogini.com, and I will post that link as well on the Art of Love page. And you can also find her on Facebook. And be sure to link in with myself on www.facebook.com/AshleyDavine11, Twitter.com/Ashley_Davine. And Art of Love has a YouTube page now, so all of our episodes will be available there, including this one with all Brigitte's info as well. Our intro track was Give Love, and it was by www.fullmoonrisingmusic.com, and it was by Daniel Paraponte. Brigitte, you want to just take a couple seconds and say goodbye to everyone?
Yeah, absolutely. At the end of every yoga class, I always remind us that there is a place within that is pure light and love. And when you're in that place and I'm in that place, we are one.
How beautiful. Thank you so much for your presence here today. Really was inspired. You've inspired my heart on several occasions, and I thank you for your strength. I thank you all, friends, for tapping in today and just taking this time out for yourself to have this conversation. There's only truth in your own heart. Nobody knows the answer but you, so you can just take what sits with you, throw out the rest, and just know that you're a powerful, powerful creator in your life. There is no lack. Fear is not real. Only love is real. Have bright, beautiful days, and I thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Brigitte.
My pleasure. Thank you, Ashley.
Have a great day, friends.
Bye-bye.